The Rendlesham Forest encounters became the talk of the airbase. Lieutenant Colonel Halt knew he had to act.
I really didn't know quite how to handle it. I reported it to my superior, and I was quite concerned, to be honest with you, what his reaction would be. But he was very supportive. I kept prodding Squadron Leader Moreland, the British liaison officer, for an answer. Doesn't somebody care? Isn't somebody interested? I got the feeling that I was kind of left hanging out there to dry, if you know what I mean.
Although they continue to press for more information, some researchers believe that the missing files and early mistakes in the military investigation may leave the Rendlesham case a lasting mystery.
The radiation readings that were supposedly left on the ground, a lot has been made of those about how unusual they are. Unfortunately, in hindsight, we now know that there was nothing unusual about them at all, and they're exactly what you would expect in a pine forest. They're the background radiation. And the Geiger counter that was being used to collect these traces shouldn't have been used in the natural environment. It was only to be used in an area where there'd been a nuclear accident.
Which is used usually for measuring huge amounts of radiation, like in nuclear blasts and so forth. All you need to notice is there's a dial on the front here, and it looks very much like the speedo in your car. Now, the speedo in your car is great for measuring whether you're exceeding the speed limit or not, but you know what it's like. You're stuck in the traffic jam doing nothing, but it's still flickering at the bottom. We know from the report that Colonel Halt made at the time that the amount of radiation they thought they were detecting on their machine was very, very small, 0.1. And we've checked with the makers of the US equivalent, and they said, their quote is, that this measurement was the bottom reading of the machine and was of little or no significance at all.
Marks on the ground, the British police officers who were called out shortly after the first incident and shown these holes in the ground thought that they were simply rabbit burrows where animals had sort of made a hole in the ground, and the forester thought the same.
To me, they were nothing more than rabbit scrapes. They certainly weren't the feet marks of some craft having landed.
Although there's been lots of rumours that something was seen on radar at the time, these papers provide undoubted proof that that isn't the case, because we know that when Colonel Halt was actually in Rendlesham Forest seeing these lights in the sky, he actually got someone to patch a call through to the local RAF radar station at Watton in Norfolk, and the commanding officer there actually looked at the radar screen and couldn't see anything unusual. So the radar thing really falls down, unfortunately. There were markings on the trees, but the forester, again, they were easily identified by them as marks that the foresters themselves had put on the trees with hatchets. And this is what they did all the time. If there was an area of trees that were ready for felling, and don't forget this is a Forestry Commission plantation, so they were always chopping trees down.
Vince was shocked when the forest became the centre of media attention, with him in the spotlight.
Every single shred of physical evidence I'd seen could be explained away naturally.
This was during the Cold War. You have to realize that security was fairly tight. Anything that would happen near the flight line when you have these high-value asset aircraft, tactical aircraft, or in weapons areas would immediately cause a response by the entire base. Everybody on the base would have been woken up and been reacting to something like that. And of course that didn't happen.